Blue Bloods is one of the most watched procedural shows on TV right now, and that's massively due to its interesting characters and fascinating plot lines. However, fans of the show are currently in a civil war against each other when it comes to one of the show's most tantalizing budding courtships. In a classic will they, won't they situation, half the fans want them to take the leap, and others want them to never see each other on screen again. In this video, we're going to be going over that relationship and see which side of the line you should fall on. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. First off, who are the characters in question? If you're a die-hard fan of Blue Bloods, then this question probably seems stupid, as there have been two characters that fans have been pushing to date for quite some time, and of course, they are Danny and Bias. The pair have been on the show for a long time, and they've been in scenes together literally hundreds of times over the course of the show, and there's a clear reason why. These two have captured lightning in a bottle, and it seems to be unstoppable. The chemistry that is between these two characters is undeniable, and fans always want to see the boundaries of that chemistry tested. When fans see two characters that have chemistry, it always leads to one thing: sexual tension. And that tension can do one of two things: either make the two act upon the tension and finally get together, which then results in them catching serious feelings and allowing them to start a relationship, or it does a completely opposite thing: makes the characters act upon the tension, or at least acknowledge the tension, which results in one of them catching feelings and the other realizing they were better off as friends, which effectively ruins the relationship. Either way, characters getting together is usually not as great as we all want it to be. We either lose all of the tension and spark that made these characters so great in the first place, or we get an all-new type of relationship that, of course, is not nearly as interesting as it was before. Essentially, regardless of the outcome, forcing characters into a relationship is a bad idea. Even the actors agree that it would be a bad idea. Usually the fans like to force their will for shows and movies on online message boards and with hashtags, but usually it all actually means nothing. And I say that because showrunners and executives already know what the big picture is. They already know how the show is going to end, so unless what the fans want is actually what is already planned, chances are the fans are not going to get what they want, despite how much they push for it. And in this case, that's mostly likely what is happening. I think that fans are pushing for Bias and Danny, but all their rally cries are falling on deaf ears. Not because the showrunners don't care, but because they have other plans. Other plans they think will be better for the show and the fans in the long run. That plan must be so clear to the actors that they are even on board with the characters never getting together. In an interview with The Talk, actor Donnie Wahlberg, who portrays Danny, and Marissa Ramirez, who plays Bias, sat down to give us their take on this whole situation. And fair warning, this is not going to go the way you want it to go if you're a Bias-Danny shipper. Wahlberg said, "Will Estes plays my younger brother on the show, and Vanessa Ray plays his now wife. And they started as partners, and the minute they got together and got married, they didn't have scenes anymore. So if they start a relationship, we won't have scenes together, and then I will miss my friend." Marissa commented right after following up with similar thoughts, saying, "I don't want to be here if I don't have scenes with him." But they aren't the only ones who have publicly commented on the fact that these two characters will likely never get together. Showrunner Kevin Wade put this idea to bed pretty tightly, with very little possibility of them ever getting together. He said, "I'm gonna use Sam and Diane from Cheers, and really age myself here, but once it happens, there's nowhere to go." Is he right? Next up, is Kevin Wade right? Well, it may have stung slightly to hear literally the actors and the showrunner quite possibly crush your dreams regarding Blue Bloods. You may need to look at this from another perspective. Would you rather the chemistry and tension be robbed from you just to see the pair kiss a few times on screen, or would you rather the tension blossom into a strong bond and friendship that is worth more than a sham relationship? I think that most fans of the show would choose to have the current course be steered, and that is Kevin's exact plan. Moreover, think about literally any other show that has had two main characters have great chemistry, only to get together and lose it all entirely. I think I could name 1,000 examples: Meredith and Derek in Grey's Anatomy, Jonathan and Nancy in Stranger Things, Britta and Jeff in Community, Jonah and Amy in Superstore, Jim and Pam from The Office. I could literally name thousands more, but once the characters cross that line, they lose all intrigue. The relationship automatically becomes worse than the tension that was built up before, and the show is ultimately damaged. In Grey's Anatomy, they literally decided to kill Derek off the show in order to make Meredith more interesting because, let's face it, the show started to stink something awful once they finally got together. The intrigue and the will they won't they is what kept fans coming back. The drama was the hook of the show, but once the show lost that by having the characters get together, they needed to take things off the rails. Amy and Jonah on Superstore finally got together after 2 full seasons of flirting and creating tension, only to throw it all down the drain when they got together. In the end, they did break up because it's obvious that they weren't actually good together. Them being together hurt the show tremendously, as there was nothing for fans to guess anymore. Fans obviously kept coming back because the show was hilarious, but the plot was gone. Nobody cared what happened to anybody because the tension had been robbed. Fans of The Office will remember the same thing happening when Jim and Pam finally got together, but it was a bit odd as they finally became a couple during the gap between season 3 and season 4, and we find out halfway through the season 4 premiere that they're together. The moment is nice, but after that they become sort of boring. Why? Because we know that they're going to be together for the rest of the show. The story's essentially finished. It was nice to see them cross that line together and get married, but the wonder was gone. It was just Jim and Pam finally being together, and that was it. And we never had to wonder if they were going to make it or not because the show just spent 3 full seasons teasing them being together. So it would have been insane to break them up once they got together. Put simply, if Danny and Baez got together, you can pretty much guarantee that Blue Bloods will begin to dip in quality. So for all of you who wanted them to get together, maybe find a new show to love because you'll not be getting what you want. So if we won't be getting Danny and Baez, what can we expect from season 13? Unfortunately, as of this recording, we do not have very many plot details for this 13th season. All we know is that the entirety of the cast that was in the show at the finale of the 12th season will be back for the 13th season. We also know that we don't have to wait too much longer to see the 13th season as it premieres October 7th, 2022, which some of you will recognize as a Friday, which confirms that it will continue to release every Friday night, and with good reason. The show continues to have stellar ratings with roughly 9.782 million viewers per episode, which is straight up insane. The show has been on since 2010 and somehow found a way to stay at the top of the ratings, along with their less than ideal late night weekend time slot. The show was in the top 5 of Nielsen ratings if you don't include NFL football games and TV shows. We can likely expect the show to stay roughly the same in terms of episode format, but you can definitely expect the show to kick things up a notch in terms of excitement and craziness. As Blue Bloods eyes on keeping that time slot and keeping their status in the top 5 of the world's most watched shows, we may not be getting one of the most demanded TV couples this season, but I'm sure we'll be getting some stellar acting, gripping action, and dramatic storylines that keep us coming back again and again. That's all we have for you guys today on the channel. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We hope you all enjoyed the video, and we will see you in the next one.